Hey there, Suzi here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to share this special message with you. Now, my co-host Michelle and I love masterminds. Not only do we belong to masterminds, but we also host a mastermind. We started it almost 8 years ago, and it is the premier mastermind for women business owners who want to grow their business with a specific focus on marketing. Now, this group is usually completely booked out, and very occasionally we open the doors and invite a handful of women in. So if you're growing your business, but you're struggling with feeling overwhelmed, or like you constantly have a split focus when it comes to your marketing, this could be exactly what you're looking for. We have an amazing time together, and the women in the group are extraordinary. They're great cheerleaders, supporters, advisors, and colleagues for you. And they're also seeing extraordinary results. We see people cracking the $1 million, $2 million, $3 million mark, launching new e-commerce sites that go from $0 to $10,000 a month in sales. They're doubling their conversion rates, they're growing memberships, they're selling courses, they're growing their personal brands, and they're getting all kinds of media exposure and speaking opportunities and so much more. You can learn more about the mastermind and join the wait list over at herbusinessmastermind.com. We're going to open the doors soon, so you definitely want to be on the list to get an invitation. So head on over to herbusinessmastermind.com. You're listening to the Content Sells Podcast, the show all about how to create content to attract, convert, and keep your ideal clients. Welcome to episode 183. I'm Suzi Dafnis, and here with me is my co-host, Michelle Falzon. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Suzi, I am great. Whoops. That was a bit of a broken record. Sorry about that.
Good to see you're being corny and getting into the swing of this episode, because we are talking about Project Broken Record. What is that? This is really building on an episode that we did last year, episode 173, which was called The Cost of New versus Rinse and Repeat. And in that episode, we talked about the tendency to think that you have to always be doing new marketing and making new products, when there is a way that you can get more traction when you actually rinse and repeat your campaigns and your offers and your products, offering them over and over again to your market, getting better cut through, awareness, traction, all those buzzwords and insights every single time you do it, which means you make more sales. There are less costs. There is less stress. There is less of a roller coaster of revenue and more predictable, reliable revenue. How fun is that? And so we wanted to revisit this idea of doing the same thing over and over. Like that sound of a record. I don't know, the last time I heard this sound, when you scratch a record and it keeps going, looping back over and over, right to the same section of the recording, because this idea of broken record, oh my God.
I'm loving those sound effects.
Don't put me up for sound effects. Yeah. That we know that your marketing, it does need to be a little bit of a broken record. We need to tell ourselves this over and over, because those bright, shiny objects that are so shiny that we tend to get bored with our own marketing before our audience does. And so we try something new, and it wastes so much energy and it gets us off track. So we can think that we need to change things when really we don't.
Absolutely, which is why this episode is called Why You Don't Need to Change Your Marketing, the benefits of Project Record. And we thought we'd update you, given that this is sort of a sister episode to the earlier one about rinsing and repeating. We thought we'd update you on some wins and nuances around this specific idea of Project Broken Record as well, because there are some things around this idea of Project Broken Record that I think will really help you and build on what we talked about last year in the earlier episode. So if you're new to this term, it came about at one of our mastermind 2-day meetings. So Suzi and I host the Marketing Success Mastermind. Amazing women business owners, and we get the great privilege of hanging out with them and supporting this group to grow their business with smarter and more effective marketing. And we have these 2-day meetings every quarter. They're kind of scheduled every 90 days. And around November each year, we focus on looking a full 12 months ahead and helping people to create the space to put a strategic plan together for the full 12 months. And then every 90 days after that, is about breaking it down into a specific project they're going to focus on or move forward in that 90 days that's really in line with that bigger strategic objective they have and that bigger overall annual plan that they have. So it gives you these nice 90-day increments to stay focused and to really hit some wins. And it is a absolutely game-changing approach to take that big year-long goal and break it down to these quarters with very specific strategic projects. And what we noticed in the early days of the mastermind, and we've been running this now, Suzi, for over 6 years, which is just seems like it's flown by. It's been such a joy. And it was every 90 days our masterminders were committing to overly ambitious projects. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It was like, well, it was unrealistic as far as what we thought we could achieve in 90 days while still having a life, running a business, seeing clients, going on vacation, having kids at home during the pandemic, all those things.
Yeah. And there's I must look it up. There's actually, it's an effect, the psychologists have studied this, that we are overly sort of optimistic about what we can get done in the time. And it's a process of learning what we can actually do in these 90 days. And initially, people were just being so overly ambitious that they were then feeling really dissatisfied because they couldn't hit their goal, or they were hitting overwhelm because they were trying to just do a whole year's worth of stuff in 90 days. And very often, the other thing that we noticed was that these projects were always something new. So like the 90 days before, maybe it was about building a website. The next 90 days is about creating a new course. And then the next 90 days is about, opening a new office or whatever it is. And each of those are giant things that have many sort of tendrils attached to them. So instead of going to this new marketing approach and this new product and this new avenue and this new everything, perhaps we thought maybe there's something in dialing this back. And, as we're prone to do, Suzi and I are pretty consistently singing the song of, hey, do less, stay focused, avoid complexity, or don't just do something new because it's another new 90 days. It's okay to keep doing the thing you were doing, or to double down on that and make it slightly tweaked next time. And gradually what happened was we started to see people planning less new in the next 90 days and doing more of that doubling down on what worked in the last 90 days, doing more of that rinsing and repeating. And one day at one of these 2-day meetings, the masterminders were declaring their projects, what they were going to work on for the next 90 days. And the lovely Fiona Keary of Style Liberation, which is a fantastic business offering personal styling through consulting, courses, her membership, and her wonderful Facebook group, 35 Plus Where to Shop. She said, I'm calling my project Broken Record. I'm not doing anything new. I'm just doing what I did last time. I'm just going to make a few small improvements and a few tweaks. And we all just went, oh my gosh, that is unreal. And it gave everybody this language to wrap around this idea that you don't have to be always doing something new. And we all loved it so much. That name has really stuck.
It has really stuck, and we actually do not a quiet happy dance. We actually do quite a loud happy dance anytime someone in the mastermind now declares that they are doing Project Broken Record this next 90 days. They are doing again what they've just done. They're not running off and trying something new. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't innovate, because Project Broken Record means we do it again, we do it better, we do it again, we tweak a little bit. And so fast forward a few years now, because that was a couple of years ago, and that Fiona had that insight, and her business has gone literally from strength to strength. She has grown her membership, which is called Super Stylers, her course takers, and her team. Her Facebook group is thriving, just got over 5,000 members, and she's not running around like a crazy person. So every time she runs her programs, whether it's her course or she opens up her membership or she runs one of her webinars, she's got what she did last time as this incredible solid foundation. She's got systems. Her team is trained. She's got the email. She's got the landing page. She's got the messaging. And her team knows what to do because they did it last time. So they can be a massive support to her, and she doesn't have to take all her brain space up creating new stuff. So who knows that feeling when you're doing something new and you've left things to the last minute? I know this feeling. So And it's so last minute that you can't brief your team in, or you're stuck at midnight the night before doing something that someone else should have done, but it got missed because you forgot to brief them, or they ran out of time. They had to go home, they had to pick up the kids. Or it could be like you're packing the goodie bags for your live event, or programming your webpage, or making sure that the countdown time is on there, but you don't actually know how to code anything. So you're struggling. And a lot of overwhelm comes about when you're doing Project Broken Record. That repetition, it gives your team a lot of confidence. They know what they're doing. And it's also great for your audience. So the people that see you out there in the world, not everyone wants to buy the first time or even the second time that you mention something. It's amazing how many people have been on our email list for months and often years before they buy from us. They've heard the message multiple times. Had we gone off doing something new, one, we appear inconsistent, but two, we don't get the benefit of that imprint that happens when people see you consistently delivering that same message over and over again.
Suzi, this is so good. And it's so important, as you say, to hear it over and over as business owners, as marketers. And so, yeah, we are being broken records ourselves right now, but for a reason. And here's a big distinction you made, Suzi, I just want to pick up on. You know, people like Fiona and so many of our masterminders who are doing Project Broken Record on the regular, they aren't always just rinsing and repeating 100% of what they did last time. And it's that point you made about, innovating and improving and tweaking. Each time, this is the sort of secret hidden power of Project Broken Record. Each time they learn something that did work, they learn something that didn't work, or perhaps multiple things that did work and multiple things that didn't work. Or they find a new way to improve, like their automation. So their emails can now get triggered, so they can sort of personalize them to more different groups or to different people. Or they might experiment with a new bonus that gets them a lot more people on the first day buying, or whatever it might be. So there are so many moving parts. There are so many things that are impossible to get right the first time. That you can leverage, that you can tweak, that you can optimize. So there is a process of continual improvement, but the big thing about Project Broken Record is that it's manageable. They aren't just throwing everything at the wall with something new each time and seeing what sticks. This kind of measured, continuous improvement is where the incredible power of this approach is, because the first time you run something, it might not actually do so well. But you can see a few glaring areas that you can probably improve on. Now, you've got a couple of choices there. You can go, well, that didn't work. Where's the next new thing? Or you can say, look, it didn't really go that well, but I can see if I just could do this, or if I did that instead of that, or if we could find a way to give people more of this sooner, or whatever it is, this could possibly work better. So next time you sort those few things out and you do a little better, then the next time you get started marketing a little sooner, because like you said, Suzi, your brain cells aren't tied up last minute at midnight writing emails. You've got the emails you wrote last time, so you can get them going sooner. So you've got more runway, a longer runway. You can get more people into the program and you get more sales. Now you've got a bit more money. Maybe you can hire that great copywriter to help you improve your sales page for the next time. Or maybe you've got something spare to invest in Facebook ads. So the next time you up level by getting more people to show up, or by getting them to pay more because you've experimented with your pricing and you get those next level results. Sometimes you even see quantum leaps forward because you have these massive breakthroughs. So we saw recently with a few of our masterminders doubling, even 10xing their results from the previous time. So they started and they did not so well. Then they ran Project Broken Record and they fixed a few things. They did a little better. Then they ran Project Broken Record and they had another uptake. And they were like, oh, I see how all this fits together. Then they did another one and they had this massive, massive uptick. And that persistence pays off. This is how you go from 5 people in your program to 11 to 30 to 50 to 90 to 200 to 500 to 1,000. And it's how your business goes from struggling to making money, and how you can become that sought after expert in your field with those full rooms or those full programs or that healthy revenue that you're really looking for.
I love everything that you are saying, and we have seen it happen. I've seen it happen inside of our organization. We see it happen time and time again inside of the mastermind. And I think sometimes there's an illusion that you will make something and it'll be awesome right out the gate. And you've spent so many hours creating the right modules and naming them right and putting all the bonuses, etc. And the thing is that for most of us, there's not going to be hundreds or thousands of people flocking to buy from you. That might happen sometimes, but that is the exception rather than the rule. But I don't want you to be deflated by that, because those people who are getting those results have gotten there because they hung in there and they rinsed and repeated that tiny bit more than most people are prepared to do, or they've had so much practice. They've done this so many times. They've built the big audience. They've gotten their messaging. They've been rinsing and repeating something else before they did this. Now, we're not saying you should stick to something if it's clearly not working. And that happens sometimes. You miss the mark with the format, or the problem that you're solving isn't clear, or you haven't really dialed in who the ideal client is for what you're offering. So in those cases, you do need to go back and you need to make more significant changes. But more often than not, what people think is a total failure is that they didn't give themselves enough time, or they haven't figured out how to talk about their offer, or they got their pricing wrong, or they haven't really crafted an offer that sells, something that Michelle and I are passionate about supporting our masterminders to do. It could be a whole collection of things that are totally fixable. The key is knowing, hey, am I completely off the mark here, or do I have some potential in what I've created, and what I really need to do is just do some more work on it before I put it out in the marketplace again. Give myself more time, tweak here, adjust there. That's where getting a support network around you, or a mentor or a guide who knows what they're doing, is so valuable. It's also where having the foundations in place, like many of the things we talk about in this show, especially our early episodes, knowing your ideal client, really, really knowing your ideal client, your marketing mountain. What is it that you want people to buy? How do you craft an offer that converts? How do you use the problem solution dance to lead people towards what you're offering? All of these things are foundational to a successful marketing strategy. It's so important. That's why those episodes, if you're a regular listener, you hear us bring them up again and again and again. It's why if you're a new listener, we're going to post a link to those foundation episodes in today's show notes. So even if you've listened to them before, my recommendation is to listen again, because these foundation moves you need to keep revisiting when you are doing Project Broken Record.
Suzi, I've got a question for our dear listener, and that is this. Are you skipping from idea to idea and perhaps bailing out on a product or a promotion or an approach too soon? So maybe you've got some thoughts coming to mind right now about times when you can see you've done just that. And that's okay. That's normal. But I encourage you to just take some time right now, if you can, or when you get back to your desk or when you're near a pen and paper, and write down what those projects or campaigns were. Are any of them worth revisiting? And conversely, are there things you're doing now because you've jumped into something else, hoping that this bright, shiny new thing is going to be your saving grace? Write down what comes to mind. What might those things be? And can you stop any of those before they become even bigger time sucks for you? So just taking some time to take what we're saying here and bring it into your world, bring it into what's relevant to you. For example, is there something you used to do that was really successful and now you can't think why you ever stopped doing it?
They are all such good questions, and I hope as you're listening you do take time to contemplate it. But I want to pick up on just that last one, because I hear quite a bit from women when we say, oh, you should try doing X, Y, Z. And they say, yeah, I used to do that. I have no idea why I stopped doing it. It used to work so well. And I know I've done that as well. And it's likely because some bright, shiny object came along. Someone you saw was doing an online challenge, or they were starting a membership, or they were doing an online course, or they had a new pop-up on their site, or something. And you went, oh, that looks good. That's working for them. I should go down that way. When you really value Project Broken Record idea, you are less likely to get swayed from what's working. You know that you are likely going to get bored of your marketing well before your market is. This happens. It happens to all of us. You think, oh my gosh, I can't do that again. I've already done it. But, when you think about musical acts, they don't just keep coming up with new music. They take the same music, they put it in another concert hall. They take the same music that's on the album and they, 25 years later, they're on stage, broken record, they're playing the hits again, right? And so you want to make sure that if you can see the signs, if you think, well, I'm getting a bit bored, well, this is a bit boring, you want to channel your need to innovate and toss what you've done out into making those measured, practical tweaks, those tweaks that continuously improve your project that we were talking about earlier. That can be incredibly creative if you can reframe it, reposition it in that way in your mind. It doesn't have to be new to be thrilling. Winning is thrilling. Making more money is thrilling. Helping more people, they're all thrilling. It isn't just thrilling to try something new, especially as a marketer or a business owner.
Speak it, sister. I'm loving it. Like, for example, we have someone right now in our mastermind that I'm thinking of, not a need for innovation, because we've all got it. I mean, we got half of us, more than half of us probably got into business because we're creative innovators and we just like making new stuff, right? So what do you do with that need to innovate, to do new? Channel it into your existing project. And she did that. She channeled into her existing project and she thought, hey, there's this new strategy I learned in Mastermind. How can I take this new strategy about finding other people's audiences to do some form of strategic alliance with? We were sort of focusing on building strategic alliances. How can I take this idea and instead of like doing something entirely new with it, how can I optimize this existing project that I have? So instead of pulling it apart and innovating something completely new, she just focused on how she could expand the market for that product she was already doing and she was already marketing by building some strategic alliances. And when we saw her recently, she was beaming from ear to ear. She's looking like she's got the most amazing strategic alliance she could have dreamed of, ready to promote her to literally hundreds of her ideal clients in a way that's going to result in so much business for her that this is going to be a real game changer. So she took new and she applied it to Project Broken Record and just made it better. So it's not about making a new product or always starting from scratch. You can build and optimize. You can find new markets. You can find new ways to get clearer about your message. You can build your skills in making the offer. You can dig deeper into the objections that your market has, both in terms of what you understand them to be and also how you show up when you address those objections when you're doing your marketing. You can tell your own story more powerfully. You can work on telling better customer stories and showing more social proof. You can tidy up your systems. You can optimize your sales pages. Are you getting the idea? There is no end of things you can do when you're adopting this Project Broken Record to optimize your existing product or offer to be awesome.
And exactly what you're saying, there are so many elements when we put something together. There might be the landing page and the opt-in box and the emails and the social media images and the posts and the testimonials that you may or may not have the first time you do it. And each one of those is a leverageable piece the next time you look at it. And so, as we said at the start of the show, we need to keep telling this same advice to ourselves. So we just finished a promotion, which was a 5-day online challenge that we called Get New Clients Coaching Week. And we have run it multiple times in different formats. And just as the title said, the week was about giving people the tools and the strategies in our system to get their new client within a week. And we had, this last time we did it, which is probably about the 5th time we've done it, the best conversion rate yet. And that's because we know what we're delivering. We know the bits that work well. We know where we could improve engagement. We had the brain space that comes from doing Project Broken Record and fine-tuning things like how many people of those who've registered can we get into the Facebook group that we're setting up as a pop-up group. We had the best ever conversion. How do we get more people who join the challenge to join as a percentage than we did last time? We increased our conversion by multiple points. How do we increase the conversion on our landing page? Oh, okay, now it's time to get some attention on copywriting and button copy and looking at a different pop-up as they leave. It can be really easy to want to create. And I know when Michelle and I get together, my partner PJ always sees warning lights because we like to create. We are very powerful co-creators. We've created incredible things in the years that we've worked together. But more and more these days, it's not about creating something new. It's about creating something that supports what we're already doing. And it's all those things you just heard, doubling down on the momentum we already have. And that's how you go further and faster. That's how you bring back time. That's how you reclaim your energy. It's not by jumping in 10 different directions. So this podcast we've been doing for over 6 years now, we make fortnightly episodes that are going to help your content marketing, which is going to help you get new clients and grow more sustainable. So we are always working on doing better and better episodes. We are filling our amazing mastermind program with women business owners who are really ready to grow their business and to see the results unlike what they've done before with their marketing. And so we do everything we can to pay attention to that program because it's so worth our time and energy. Because we've been running the program, it's going to be 6 years, or it is 6 years, I can never remember. And we have women who were there from day one, who just keep renewing their subscription to the program every single year. Now, later this year, we're running a month-long course called the Mastermind Experience, and we're doing it again for the 3rd year in a row, broken record, because it works and women love it. And while we will inevitably tweak a couple of things, in essence, it's going to be Project Broken Record. Maybe there's a new technology that we can use, or a slight tweak we're going to do with the order in which things happen. Who knows? But it's going to be Project Broken Record. We've got another project that we're spending time on, and that is the Her Business Reach Retreat, which is coming up in Hawaii in October. Now, there's been a 2-year gap because of the pandemic, and now we're bringing the program back. So there's pent-up demand for this retreat in Hawaii, which is for established business owners. And so we're working on the marketing that lets people know why this is an essential next step for them if they really need to fall back in love with their business, if they need to really change their business, if they need to now create the next big compelling vision that's going to take them forward. And over the years, we've tried a few things that work to let people know about this program. So we are not throwing all those things out. We are revisiting them. We're picking out what worked best, and we're broken recording it. We just made a verb. I love broken record.
Love it.
It frees up so much energy to go deeper with what works. And it means we're not wasting energy on things that don't matter or don't actually make a big difference to the big goals that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why you do not need to change your marketing, and why you might want to start thinking about the benefits of Project Broken Record. So we love to share what we learn. We learn these things working with women every single day. We love to share these things with as many women as possible. So if you got some value from today's episode, we would be so honored if you would go ahead and leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. We have over 91 5-star reviews. We are so grateful that you are here listening, and we would love it if you would pop along to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Now, you might be listening on Spotify, you might be listening on another platform, but Apple Podcasts is the big kahuna. Speaking of Hawaii, or one of our Her Business Network members recently left us this review. Her name is Marie Yao. She's a photographer in WA, and she said this. She said, 5 stars, my go-to business podcast. I found Suzi and Michelle's podcast from an interview they did with a photographer last year, and from there I was hooked. I've gone back to listen to all the episodes right from the start in 2015. Some of my favorite episodes are those foundational ones, and they are still very relevant. I'm a relatively new business owner, and the way Suzi and Michelle explained key marketing concepts was simple and just made sense. I love content sells and recommend it to everyone who is interested in marketing or has a business. Thank you, ladies, for producing such an enjoyable and high-value podcast. I couldn't imagine continuing my business journey without your advice and guidance. Marie!
Wow.
Oh my God, I want to jump through the page and hug her.
Nice one, Marie.
Yeah, so good. And that is Marie Yao. Thank you so, so much. Now, we have mentioned a number of resources and past episodes, foundational episodes that Marie just mentioned as well. And we are going to give you access to those goodies because they are worth listening to again if you've listened before, listening to for the first time if you are just new to the show. So anything that we have mentioned here on the show today can be found in today's show notes, which live over on the Her Business website. And you will find them at herbusiness.com/podcast broken record. That's all one word. herbusiness.com/broken record as one word. Michelle, what have we got coming up in the next episode? I really enjoyed this episode, I have to say. It's got me fired up.
Me too. I could just talk about it over and over and over. Sorry, I had to top and tail with dad jokes. I just couldn't help it. But you want to know what's coming next?
Indeed, I do.
Stop talking broken record, Michelle. Get off the broken record. So what we're going to be talking about next in the next episode is a topic that is another one that's probably going to get us going because it's something else we're super passionate about and talking to women about all the time. And that is how to raise your prices. We are going to just take a wild guess that you are probably not charging enough. And we're going to chat to you about A, how you might know that and discover that. And then B, what do you do about it? How do you go from the price you're charging now to a new higher price? And we've got a few strategies for you, a few things that might calm the nerves if you're thinking, oh no, my market won't tolerate that, or no, I can't do it, because a whole lot of stuff comes up for us when we talk about this topic. So we're going to be looking at it from a few different angles. Really worth it, really worth checking it out, because when you increase your prices, that has a massive effect on your bottom line. You're doing the same work, but you're getting more into your business, and that is really a game changer.
And if you wonder, how do they come up with these topics? How do they know that I want to know how to raise my prices? Because we are always listening. We talk to you in almost every episode about really understanding your ideal client. And I know, I see the comments. I want to raise my prices. I don't know how to. I don't know how much to charge for that. Can I really charge that? That sounds like a lot. I'm just charging what my competition does, right? So we've been hearing the call that you want to raise your prices. And like Michelle said, we're going to give you lots of strategies and examples so that you can start to really earn what is the potential revenue for you. Because as Michelle said, the moment you start to charge your worth, the moment you start to see that cash flowing into your business in a way that makes it more sustainable, it takes the pressure off. It really does change the game of doing business. So that episode is episode 184. It is out 2 weeks from now. If you don't already subscribe to the show, then you want to go ahead and do that. If you're a member of the Her Business Network, you know that inside your monthly growth guide, there is a link to say, make sure you subscribe to the show, because this is the sort of awesomeness that you can expect every couple of weeks as new episodes are released. Now, Michelle, anything you want to say before we go today?
Oh my gosh, Suzi, I've just had this breakthrough idea for Project Broken Record. Record players, when you put the record on, it's on, right? And it's already spinning. And so it's already in motion, and it's much energy to start things. Whereas if you've got that record, the disc on the record player, and it's spinning, it's already in momentum. Whereas if you go and do something new, you've got to take that record off, put it away, get the other one out of the sleeve, put it on the record player, turn it on, get it spinning again. And it's just like that with new projects. You lose so much momentum and energy. Anyway, I was just very happy with that. And I wanted to say to our listeners, starting things takes a lot of energy. Keeping good things going takes less energy and has more upside.
I'm sure there's a physics example that will verify that.
We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll find it. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on the Content Sells podcast. Bye for now.